Hey everyone, Ronan here, and welcome back to the channel. We are at about the halfway point of what if Brock took the gym challenge, but before we get into that, we got a couple of things that we got to take care of today. First things first, we got to do is shout out the patron, as always, Frankie Taferno. Thank you very much for the support. And also, analytics are very important, so please make sure to drop a like and a comment to help the video get to the algorithm and to a larger audience. And also, don't forget to subscribe and to turn on notifications if this is your first time here, so that way you'll never miss another upload. But with all that being said, let's get into what if Brock took the gym challenge, part 13. I hope you enjoy. We begin today's episode in the midst of an all-out battle between Jazelle and Brock as his Gyarados collides with the Pokemon that Jazelle figured could give it a run for its money and possibly finally beat Brock in a battle to get him to see the error of his ways and go back to CANT. The mighty razor-faced Haxorus tears through the area as it tries to attack Gyarados. However, the Serpent proves that it is much more adept at battling as it easily evades the dragon's attack before replying with a Dragon Pulse that sends it careening into the wall of Motostoke. While this seems excessively brutal for a Pokemon battle, it's not a true Pokemon battle in the sense of the word. You see, Jazelle had challenged Brock to another rematch in order to get him to go back to Kanto with her, and when he refused, she sent out Haxorus, demanding that the boy take her challenge. But unfortunately for the girl, it wasn't Brock this time that put a stop to her plans. It was Haxorus, as it proved unwilling to take any orders from Jazelle, attacking everyone in sight, including Brock and Joe. This forced our young hero to sending Gyarados as a countermeasure to try and stop the dragon type. Luckily, Gyarados does have the battle experience to take it on, and it's able to make easy work of Haxorus after it stacks a Dragon Dance, combined with an Aqua Tail, bringing the battle to an end, and leaving Haxorus cratered, unconscious with spirals in its eyes. This just leaves Jazelle standing there in complete disbelief. She thought for sure she would be able to take down Brock with Haxorus. However, her inner monologue is interrupted by Joe when he tells Jazelle that she needs to take the hint. There's no way she can beat Brock at the academy nor here. While she has been off doing her own thing, scheming any underhanded tactics that she could to try and get Brock to go back to Kanto, he's actually been getting stronger. Heck, even Joe's been getting stronger as a result of Brock's training. And as a result, if Jazelle could barely stand a chance to him back at the academy, then now she has no way of being able to beat the boy. However, Jazelle simply retorts that they only have 5 weeks until school begins, so they need to stop this charade and get back to Kanto before they all miss it, and they all get expelled for not being in attendance on the first day. However, this is where Brock is going to finally break the illusion of Jazelle. He won't be going back. He never intended to. Her never-ending attempts to get him to go back with him have failed, and the only reason he originally agreed to battle her in the first place was just to help her get over the prospect of not being able to go back to the academy. Brock doesn't understand why Jazelle would ever want to go back there. This sparks frustration in the girl as she tells Brock that the academy is the perfect place for all of them. They can all be there, and the social hierarchy keeps everything in checks and balances. There, they are somebody, and no matter what happens, they will always be in charge. However, Brock just tells her that she's delusional. He knows exactly how the academy is run, and the fact that Jazelle would ever want to go back there shows that she doesn't really have a true understanding of anything. The popular kids will throw you aside the first chance they get. I don't understand why you would ever want to go back there. Those people there, they're not your true friends. They'll use you until you can't be used anymore, and then they'll throw you out with last week's trash. Face it, Jazelle, neither one of us belong there, and whether you want to admit it or not, I have come to terms with that. Now it's time that you have too. We won't be going back. Now you can make a choice. Either join us or stop following us, because this is the end. These words finally break the girl, as nothing but silence can be heard from her. Well, I guess you made your choice then, Brock says, as he turns to begin walking away with Joe. This is where Jazelle snaps out, telling Brock that she's going to report him directly to the chairman of the Pokemon League. There's no way he'll get a chance to continue this absurd gym challenge. However, Brock just simply reiterates that Chairman Rose already verified his letter. For whatever reason, he acknowledges its authenticity. So that boat has already sailed, and that's the last thing that's said, as Jazelle watches them in disbelief while Brock and Joe disappear over the hills deep into the wild area. A few days later, our two heroes find themselves in the city of Hammerlocke. Unfortunately though, Brock isn't going to get the gym challenge that he was looking for, as the Hammerlocke gym leader is actually not in attendance at the current time, as they haven't arrived yet to take over the duties of the gym. So, like it or not, Brock and Joe are just going to have to move on, and while the boy is a little bit upset about this, he fully realizes that they can come back at a later date. So, after looking at a map on their their Rotom phones, they see that the next gym that's closest to Hammerlocke is going to be the one in Stownside. So they decide to head west from the city, heading down Route 6. A few days later, Brock and Joe are in the midst of a Pokemon battle, with Joe trying to get to know DIDNT while Brock is using Grookey. It's definitely an odd pairing, as DIDNT seems to have an obsession with hoarding things, even taking Grookey's stick, causing the little grass monkey to become infuriated when the rodent won't give it back. However, their altercation is going to come quickly to an end when a surprise visitor makes things begin to stink for our duo, and that's quite literally as a purple gas cloud envelops the area. Everyone but DIDNT begins to hold their nose as they can't stand the smell of what's permeating through the air. It's here that Brock and Joe both begin to look for the source of this stink, but before they can find it, they are interrupted when Grookey goes on an all-out attack against DIDNT, trying to get its stick back. Unfortunately, because the rodent is just as obsessed with the stick as Grookey is, this isn't going to be easy, resulting in a chase on the purple cloud that ends with an assault that begins on Grookey and DIDNT, as it seems that the source of this permeation has finally been discovered. However, Brock and Joe can see nothing. They can only hear the cries of Grookey as its frustration begins to build. Then, with a terrifying screech, a blast comes from within the cloud, as a brief flash of light can be seen. The force of the blast dissipates the cloud, allowing Brock and Joe to see what is actually happening. At the center is DIDNT, now very unconscious, at the feet of a Pokemon that Brock and Joe haven't seen before. However, Grookey's nowhere to be seen, and then Brock realizes what that light was. It was Grookey evolving, and this is its second form, as he takes out his Rotom phone to learn that this is the middle stage evolution of the line known as Thwackey. However, the newly evolved grass monkey isn't happy with the circumstance, as its rage is still permeating while it engages in battle with something that seems to be struggling to get away from Thwackey. Using his Rotom phone, Brock learns that this is a Pokemon called Stunky. It's a dark poison type, and unfortunately it looks like if he doesn't step in, then Thwackey is going to make quick work of it, and it's not going to be in a very fun way. So, in order to prevent any more damage to the dark type as it looks like it's beginning to tire, Brock throws a Pokeball at it, stopping Thwackey's assault in mid-swing. This angers the grass monkey as Stunky is absorbed into the Pokeball, being registered for Brock's 5th Pokemon of the Galar region. But there's no time to celebrate, as the mid-stage evolution decides that it's going to take its frustrations out on the tree right beside it, as it begins pummeling the trunk while it climbs up to the branches above. Both Brock and Joe can do nothing but watch on in pure curiosity as Thwackey throws what seems to be a temper tantrum about the situation. But before long, they hear a snap, followed by a secondary snap, and then finally, Thwackey seems to have calmed as it drops back to the ground, revealing that it now has 2 sticks instead of 1. It seems that little primal temper tantrum was as a result of it not having enough wood, should you say? It's here that both Joe and Brock agree that it's time for them to call it a day. They're going to settle in for the night so that way they can get an early start and hopefully be in Stownside by big day. With that, Brock decides to recall Thwackey, as its little outburst has him a bit concerned, and he's hoping that it's not going to be a second Gyarados on his team that he's going to have to figure out how to handle. A day later, our duo finds themselves in the city of Stownside. The first stop is going to be the Pokemon Center, as Brock wants to make sure that he's all set to go for a gym battle. Not only that, but he needs to get Stunky the workaround so that way he can make sure it's ready for anything that might come its way. Also, Brock wants to make sure that it's healthy and in tip-top condition so that way he doesn't have any Pokemon that are going to run the risk of developing any type of sicknesses. Luckily for the duo, this is going to be rather quick, as the Nurse Joy of Stownside is pretty proficient at getting things done. This allows the two boys to head immediately over to the gym, which it isn't hard to pick out, as it's just like all of the other gyms that Brock has seen inside of the Galar region, a large stadium-like building. However, this one is a bit odd. It appears to be locked, with an old man standing outside. Brock quickly approaches this old man, asking if the gym leader is present and can have a gym battle today. However, the old man tells Brock that he needs to get lost. The gym leader for this gym has resigned, as he's not quite keen on how the league has been turning out as of late, so he's retiring. Wait, what do you mean? Brock says. I came the whole way here for a gym battle, and the gym leader is retiring? To which the old man simply says, yep, he's got an island up north that he plans to retire on, and maybe open up a dojo to train some students or something like that. But what am I supposed to do about my gym battle? Brock says, to which the old man simply points to an old, overgrown building that is very run down. Try there. The new gym leader that is taking over today has made his home there, the old man says before he walks off, leaving Brock and Joe to stand there, contemplating their next move. What are you gonna do? Joe asks, To which Brock says, well, the old man says that there's a gym leader in that building, so I guess we have no choice. We're gonna have to go in. Joe shudders at this thought, as this thing looks like it is a magnet for ghost-type Pokemon, which, even though he has Sableye, some of them aren't as easy to deal with as his ghost type. But Joe's not going to be left alone, as he knows Brock will need whatever support that he can offer. The two quickly make it inside the beat-down building. Unfortunately, though, it seems like there's a presence that is following the two, as both Brock and Joe can feel like there's a pair of eyes watching them around every corner, to which they both compliment that this place is just creepy. Brock couldn't see why any gym leader would want to hang out here. Neither could Joe, as it's so dark and damp, and it's got a strange smell, to which a voice that neither one of them knows apologizes, saying, sorry about that, I just took over the place. This causes both Joe and Brock to jump, shaking in fear, as they don't know who said that or where it came from. But before them appears a boy that appears to have a mask on his face, who introduces himself as Alistair, the newest leader of the Stow-Inside Gym, to which he inquires if they are here for a gym battle. Shaking off the chill that was running down his spine, Brock says that they are. He's here to challenge the gym leader. He's after his 4th badge of the Galar region, and he was hoping to capture it today, but it appears as if the bigger stadium is closed, to which Alistair confirms, and unfortunately because of that, that gym leader will no longer be able to issue any gym badges or take any challenges, but he will happily take any challengers that have come to the city. So you really are a gym leader, are you? Brock says, as his fear has given away to curiosity because this kid can't be any older than he is, to which the boy says he is, as he introduces himself as Alistair, but he's only been a gym leader for a couple of hours now, so he hasn't quite gotten the flow of things down. This is where Brock sees an opportunity. After all, his family business is that of the gym leaders, so he offers Alistair a trade. If he shows him some pointers on being a gym leader, then can they have a battle? Alistair has no issue with this, as the pressure of not really knowing what to do was starting to get to the boy. However, he does inform Brock that there's going to be one condition of their battle that they won't be able to fulfill. Because of this building that they're currently in, they can't make it a Dynamax battle, so it'll just have to be a regular one. So Alistair wants to make sure that Brock is okay with, to which he confirms by nodding his head. Now a little bit excited at the prospect that he may have made some friends, Alistair begins to inquire about these pointers that Brock has, to which the boy simply says, well, the first thing you're going to need is a gym badge. Do you happen to have any of those? However, Alistair doesn't. He hasn't had a chance to get any made for his actual gym, but he does have something. It's here that he reveals that he has a couple of gym badges that were left over from the previous gym leader, but unfortunately they don't quite go with his typing, as this was meant for a fighting type gym leader, and he's not a fighting type specialist. He's a ghost type specialist. Brock says not to worry, as he thinks that they can quickly rectify this issue. He then asks if Alistair has any paint. Curiously, Alistair says that he does, and he tells Brock and Joe to follow him. Moments later, after Brock gets his hand on the paint, he's able to quickly make some adjustments to the former fighting badge, as he shows Alistair what he has done. He essentially just colored over the fighting symbol and then painted what looks like to be a ghost symbol on it, showing the boy that even though he doesn't have any official badges as of yet, he can still convert these ones with a little bit of imagination. Alistair likes this idea, as it kind of signifies death and resurrection, which is what's kind of happened with him here. Taking the badges that Brock had modified, Alistair thanks the boy, asking him if he would like to have a battle at this current time, to which Brock says, well, he hasn't really shown him everything that he knows about being a gym leader. But Alistair tells Brock that it's fine. They can have their battle, and then if there's time afterwards, they'll do all of that. How does a 2-on-2 sound? Brock is okay with this, as he hasn't had a 2-on-2 since he battled Milo and Nessa. So with this agreement, they then head to the battlefield, with Joe tailing behind, a bit nervous and a bit jealous at the newfound kinship Brock has discovered. However, the boy bites his tongue, as he doesn't want to do anything to throw off Brock's focus for this upcoming gym battle. Moments later, Brock and Alistair find themselves in the middle of a very dark and damp gym. However, this isn't going to impede them from having their battle, as the two stand across from each other, with Alistair telling Brock that he hopes that he's ready. As his first opponent, Alistair is going to take this very seriously. However, Brock tells the boy he wouldn't have it any other way, to which Alistair nods as he readies his first Pokeball, declaring Corsola, go! What pops from the ball is something that looks like a transparent plant. Brock has never really ever seen this thing before. However, he is able to use his Rotom phone to get a quick intel on it, discovering that it's the evolution to a Galarian form of a Pokemon that he actually knows, a Corsola. This is odd, as it doesn't share any typing with its Jotonian counterpart. However, this isn't going gonna impede the boy, as Brock decides that he wants to try out his newest catch here, declaring, "Stunky, your time to battle." The skunk emerges from its ball with a brief toot, unsure of what exactly is going on here, to which Brock has to take a little bit of time to offer an explanation to Stunky of what's exactly going on. This gets the poison type a little bit excited, as it's never really had any interactions with humans, and this whole thing about a competitive battling system really gets its gases flowing, so it's eager to try this. So with all parties in agreement, the first commands are given, as Alistair simply calls for something that Brock has never heard of before: a curse. Alistair's ghost type begins to cry in pain as if it's causing a wound to itself. However, this is going to be of little consequence, as Stunky begins to writhe in pain as well, to which Brock quickly puts 2 and 2 together. That move, for whatever reason, is having an effect on his Pokemon, to which Alistair immediately responds by telling Brock that by Corsola cutting its HP in half was able to inflict a curse upon Stunky. So now, after every move, it's going to lose health repeatedly until it faints. So this is basically putting Brock on a clock, and he's not going to sit around and wait for this to happen, as he's quick to order a bite from his dark type. However, the ghost is able to quickly offer up a counter, as it uses a power gem as a shield to prevent any contact from the super effective move. This runs the health down of the skunk a little bit farther, but Brock is quickly on to Alistair's game, as it's kind of obvious that his intention is to try and run out the clock by playing defense, so he thinks he might have an idea for Stunky to get a little bit of payback, as he orders the dark type to use a poison gas. Suddenly, a purple cloud envelops the entire area that has a stink that is barely tolerable. Even Alistair is beginning to choke from behind his mask. The smell of this is so potent that it's able to cause a slight poison to the ghost type that stands across from Stunky, as Corsola begins to cry in pain once again as it coughs and gags on the putrid odor. You see, Alistair, 2 can play at that game. However, the ghost type master isn't going to just sit around and let Brock gain all of the advantage that he possibly could, as he orders Corsola in with a nightshade. Now, while this won't be super effective, it is going to cause a decent amount of damage, as Corsola is a decently high level Pokemon, to which Stunky hasn't really had that much time to train, considering Brock just caught it the day before. And this is going to hit the skunk. Now, it's not going to be enough to knock it out, but it is going to be enough to put it even farther in on the clock, as there's only going to be one move that it can make before the curse is going to take it. However, Brock knows that this is all they're going to need, as he orders the poison type to get in close. However, Alistair is going to do whatever he can to prevent this, as he orders another power gem to try and block any type of attacks. But the little skunk simply weasels by the attack, as it becomes face to face with the ghost type, and Brock was able to unleash a move that Alistair didn't really see coming in a Venoshock. This manages to hit for double damage, as Corsola is poisoned, but unfortunately the execution of this move is going to cause the curse to run its final course, knocking Stunky out. However, this isn't going to be without side effect, as while the Venoshock didn't take out Corsola, in the end the poison was able to do the job, causing a double knockout for the first round, to which Alistair is a bit shocked that Brock was able to do that, especially with what he declared as a Pokemon that he had only had for a day. However, Brock is a little bit disappointed. He was hoping Stunky would be able to go a little bit farther, but a draw is better than a loss, as both trainers recall their Pokemon, readying their final choices for the battle. Now, Brock has a decision that he's going to have to make here. He was actually thinking about using Thwackey, but unfortunately the temper tantrum that it had when it had evolved is something that's got Brock a little uneasy, so he decides that he's going to forego that right now for something that's a little bit more reliable in his starter, as he declares, "Carkol, your time to battle." The smoldering pile of stones emerges from its Pokeball as it's ready to take on any challenge that comes its way. However, he and Brock may not be as prepared as they had hoped for Alistair's final choice, as he declares, "Poltergeist, go!" What pops from the ball is kind of like a possessed teacup, as it shrieks a little maniacal laugh as it stares down both Brock and Carkol. This causes a shiver to run down both of their spines briefly before the match is called to start, and Brock gives an order for a flame charge. However, Alistair is just going to order his Pokemon to take this, as this battle isn't going to be as defensive as the last one, with Alistair calling for a nasty plot. Suddenly, Poltergeist glows in an aura, signifying that its stats had increased, while Carkol does whatever it can to slam its body into the teacup as hard as possible for some stab damage. However, this is also going to have the added effect of the rock type increasing its speed, which is something that it desperately needed because Poltergeist was a little bit faster than that. However, this is going to put them on an equal footing as Brock decides to go for another attack, calling for a smackdown. But unfortunately, this time things aren't going to go in Brock's favor as Poltergeist now has the strength to use a Shadow Ball to plow through the rock before it can even make contact, connecting with Carcoal. What follows is multiple exchanges back and forth as Carcoal and Poltergeist both try to establish dominance over one another. And it's gotten to the point to where you can see that both Brock and Alistair are actually enjoying this battle, which Joe has noticed from the stands, making the boy a little bit more uncomfortable. However, he's not going to have to wait long for this battle to finish, as Brock is able to prove that his starter is more stubborn than any other Pokemon out there, as a final smackdown is driven into the cracked teacup, bringing this battle to an end and earning Brock his 4th badge of the Galar region. The boy happily celebrates with his starter, as for some reason Alistair has decided to join in as they jump up and down celebrating Brock's win. While Brock thinks this is a little odd, he's not going to say no to a gym battle win, as Alistair presents him with their newly crafted ghost badges, telling Brock that he's one of the funnest people that he's ever met, and also one of the most helpful. Alistair thanks Brock for all the time that he put in to help him get ready to open the gym. However, Brock says he didn't really do anything. The badge just needed to be changed up a little bit until you got your actual official badges. However, Alistair says he thinks he's going to keep it like this. It feels more personal, like it's a gift from a friend. Well, if you say so, Brock says. But hey, listen, I want to thank you for the battle, and if we have the chance to battle again, I'd like to go all out. Maybe a chance to Dynamax against you. To which Alistair says when he gets his gym up and running, and he's got the fighting type converted into something more suitable for his ghost types, how about he come back for a rematch after that happens? To which Brock nods his head, signifying that the boy would love to, before telling Joe that they're leaving. The last thing Alistair sees is Brock and Joe walking out of the gym, as he can sense a bit of jealousy coming from the friend of Brock. This is where a brief cackle can be heard from the shadows, as a Gengar appears behind Alistair. Yeah, I know I went easy on him, but he was real helpful. After all, we wouldn't have gym badges if he hadn't have been here with the idea to convert the other ones. So I figured we'd go easy on him for the time being. But don't worry, next time you'll get a chance to battle him, Gengar. And that's where we're going to leave things for now. So tell me, how did you guys feel about this part? Did you enjoy the standoff that Brock and Joe had with Giselle in the beginning, and Giselle's newest capture in Haxorus? How do you feel about Brock's newest capture in Stunky, and of course the evolution of Thwackey, and that random outburst that it had at evolution? And let's not forget the battle that he had with Alistair. What'd you guys think of that? And the fact that Alistair just kind of gave away a free win because he felt like it was owed to Brock for the help that he had given. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this in the comments down below. And that's all we had for today's video. I really appreciate you guys stopping by to watch all the way to the end, and I just wanted to say thank you for that. If you guys really enjoy my content, consider following me on some of my other platforms like Discord, where you can get to know other people who are interested in what ifs, or on Twitter, where I post sometimes behind the scenes updates. Or if you want to help the channel grow a little bit extra, why don't you consider donating like the people right here have, as whatever you could offer could help us get to a larger audience by helping us get new videos done, or some of the projects that we've been more custom art is getting kind of expensive. So we want to make sure that we have the funds to do that. But with all that being said, I really hope you guys enjoyed everything, and I will see you in the next video.